Hello again. There is a lot to discuss today, but before that I want to point out how ridiculous it is that, of all the animals in the world, dogs would be someone's favorite. Even if you actually like dogs, for some mysterious reason, there are so many awesome animals in existence that absolutely beat these banal bark bags any day, in every regard. Pretty much any organism you can think of is better than a dog by several orders of magnitude, and there are countless creatures that are far more important, more impressive, more intelligent, more worthy of attention, and more interesting than something as overpopulated and ugly as a dog.
There is some speculation over the origins of this bizarre biological beast. I speak, of course, of the common dog. That child-killing, butt-sniffing, man-eating, leg-humping miscreant. That real-life modern monster. That useless bark bag, that slobbering simpleton, that most profane predator which shouts at the wind, always howling and hounding, that habitual harasser that barks for hours over the least threatening neighboring noises, that perpetually proliferated poop-pursuing pest. Well, it has found its paradise on our precious planet.
Hello and welcome back to Demystifying the Dog.
The presence of dogs in society is a curse upon humanity. The domestic dog itself is, however, itself subject to various infirmities and behavioral anomalies. It is as though the dog itself were beset by a wicked hex. It is as if man's worst fiend is at once a curse and accursed. I am speaking figuratively, of course. Just as we ourselves are continuously troubled and plagued by the presence of these mayhem-making facultative carnivores, dogs themselves are constantly troubled and plagued by a number of abnormalities just by virtue of being alive, which is all the more reason to stop owning, breeding, selling, buying, advertising, and promoting them. We must stop proliferating these wretched beasts, and we must stop allowing them to reproduce their own existence on the streets they litter with their foul progeny.
If your roommate was as unstable, neurotic, needy, and aggressive as a dog, you would throw them out. You would even move out if it meant being homeless, if that other option wasn't a possibility. We all know just how dysfunctional dogs are, but you can easily tell, just by laying eyes on them, that they aren't quite right. It's easy to talk about how downright ugly dogs are, and we are going to be doing just that. However, we're not dunking on dogs for the fun of it. The fact that one can easily tell, just by seeing one for a few seconds, how odd they are and how different they are from all other animals. It tells us that we shouldn't be breeding these artificial canines into hundreds of distinct breeds. The dog's man-made origins are visible, and their unnatural origin cost these creatures their own well-being. Someone on Quora once asked, "What is the ugliest animal?" People posted pictures of blobfish, naked molar rats, goblin sharks, proboscis monkeys, and various other animals. Curiously, not one individual posted a photo of a damn dog, but by far several dog breeds, dogs in general really, are among the most unsightly life forms to ever exist. Frankly, it is difficult to accept that these creatures are actually descended from natural animals. To be clear, I'm not saying or implying that they aren't, but any resemblance to such has long been lost. Sure, there are some breeds that closely resemble modern wolves, at least in terms of their outward appearance. Of course, if you look closely, you will note obvious and glaring differences.
And here's a comparison of wolves versus dogs. See how on the left side, the floppy ears and the wrinkles around their eyes that they need to force up, and that's what the puppy dog eyes are. Disgusting mutant on the left. And then on the right, it's just natural, comfortable, collective, stoic. Here's similar to the chart that we saw. Floppy ears, wrinkles on its face. Disgusting looking.
Dogs look every bit as objectionable as they sound and smell, and they typically have this vacant and lifeless expression on their faces, They look every bit as dumb as they are. Simply compare and contrast a picture of any random dog with that of any natural predator, or any other animal for that matter. The sagging skin around their jowls, the way they constantly have their mouths open, with their tongues lolling all the time. The exposed gums and putrefied teeth are so repulsive and off-putting, it is absolutely revolting.
A picture is worth 1,000 words, and here is another prime example. Compare and contrast the two animals, on the left and on the right. Can you really tell me with a straight face, dog nutters, that the Cane Corso is a normal-looking creature? There is absolutely nothing majestic about the beast, pictured on the left. Another indication of how aberrant dogs are relates to the fact that they only populate human settlements. They aren't even being set to higher purpose, like other animals we've domesticated, and which are usually found exclusively on farms. Dogs belong neither to the field nor the forest, although they spring up in the cities like mushrooms and flourish like flowers in a meadow. They are more akin to vile weeds that smother out natural plants and kill crops. One should never allow weeds to go to seed, yet dogs are severely overpopulated.
But I want to be clear about something. When I say dogs are ugly, I don't just mean some. And when I say that dogs are abnormal compared to other animals, I mean all of them. When I say that all dogs suck and are terrible in a number of ways, I, again, am not just referring to some dogs. None of them are good boys, or whatever the hell these nutters call them, when they aren't tearing up their furniture or humping their legs in front of guests. Some breeds are particularly unsightly, that is for sure, but even many fairly common dogs, like German Shepherds, are hideous looking. Pit bulls and similar mutts, like Dogo Argentinos, have terrible skin, gaping, warty maws resembling rotting meat, lifeless, beady eyes, and practically no fur. I only mention this last bit because people still refer to them as fur babies and other such nonsense. Wait, no, not people, nutters.
I truly can't comprehend how anyone can say that dogs are not ugly. Objectively speaking, dogs have been artificially bred by humans and are thus deformed and grotesque as a result. Just compare and contrast them with natural animals. Look at a black panther compared to a hideous mastiff, like the one pictured here, or a wild wolf compared to any type of dog that most closely resembles a wolf. And if you can't tell which animal doesn't look right, you need your vision checked. Dogs have a slovenly appearance and an abrasive demeanor. Just look at any dog's lifeless eyes or its malformed, misproportioned and downright sloppy-looking face. Look at its floppy ears and its disgusting dangling tongue. The skin on its face often sags and droops, and it may have an inordinate amount of wrinkles. Many dogs have excessive folds of skin or wrinkles and things of this nature. But, for that matter, a dog's irregular movements and excessive panting is off-putting in and of itself. Their often exposed genitals are sickening and offensive. Dogs are stiff, clumsy and sloppy. Many mutts have diseased-looking skin and discoloration. Good God, it's a miracle that anyone can stand the sight of a dog.
It is strange how many assertions there are about this one canine subspecies being so incredible, loyal, loving, laborious, even lenient, when in actuality little else on earth is as disloyal, disreputable, dangerous and dysfunctional as the domestic dog. Even among dog fanatics, it is common knowledge that many dogs have breed-specific conditions and complications, all a direct result of their artificial origins. Is it any wonder that such a specimen, which has been subject to so much tampering, would exhibit so many behavior idiosyncrasies? This is a cringy critter, which is given to coprophagia, cough from canine distemper, constant combativeness, and separation anxiety. This is a bestial predator with a despotic disposition. As compromised as ChatGPT seems to be on this matter, like much of the human population, unfortunately, it isn't difficult to prompt it to roast dogs and describe them and their tendencies and undesirable qualities with some accuracy. Here are only a few examples.
Oh, Look, a creature that screams at the wind, eats garbage, and then tries to kiss you like it's a love language. What a genius species! Can't tell a squirrel from a home intruder, but will bark for 3 hours over a falling leaf. So majestic. Nothing says man's best friend like slobber, hair on every surface, and a wet nose jammed into your crotch uninvited. They're loyal, sure, until someone else shows up with bacon. Then it's betrayal at the speed of sound. I just love having a 70-pound anxiety machine pacing around while I try to have a peaceful moment. Truly soothing. Why go to therapy when you can have a creature that freaks out every time the Amazon driver exists?
But what do dog fanatics do or say when you point out how utterly absurd their perverse lifestyle choice is? Or when you point out all the harms they conveniently ignore or overlook? They deny and defend. They demonstrate just how daft a person can truly be. I often wonder, what cancerous cave did these contemptible cretins crawl out of? After all, the damage wrought by dogs and their enabling owners is often rationalized by the general public. This occurs even in light of the most injurious and extreme violations. The domestic dog is a foreign, that is to say, alien, subspecies, and it has no allegiance to our own. And when I say alien, no nutter, I do not literally mean to state or imply that they're of an extraterrestrial origin. Nonetheless, dogs are toxic to the very planet they unfortunately still inhabit. If you have to condition something against its natural proclivities and instincts in order to render it less dangerous to our species, why would you have it around at all? If the consequences of not training or socializing a dog properly are that a person is violently attacked at random and with intense ferocity, then no one should be permitted to own such a monster. Of course, this assumes that dogs attack us the way they do, because a person somewhere has failed to recondition its innate drives, or has somehow not done dog ownership right. But the truth is that dogs are naturally violent. It is obvious and self-evident. I will go over this in a future upload, in the not-too-distant future, but dogs are clearly anomalous in many regards, and it is insane that people continue to promote them and help this already severely overpopulated predatory menace and nuisance multiply its already insane numbers, all while many natural and pre-existing animals see their numbers shrink along with their home ranges and territories. This is not a difficult dilemma. Dogs are dangerous, deadly, and disease-riddled. They are as dumb as they are dramatic, and they have no chill. They are as dim as the disgusting caverns their daft defenders dwell. Why are we even still having these debates and discussions? You can say I'm throwing shade, but a dis is in order, because dogs are disordered, disruptive, and deleterious, yet devotion to them verges on deification, and this entire endeavor is deeply damaging and disruptive. The ongoing proliferation of dog parks and pet supermarkets, among other things, have led up to this point. There is a massive commercial and corporate push behind this nuttery today. However, dog shows, or conformation shows, dating back as far as 19th century England, have also played a role in ultimately generating this madness. It brings me absolutely no pleasure to tell you this, but there is nary a corner on this dog-infested globe that is not plagued and pervaded by the presence of these four-legged defilers of all that is good.
I stepped in it again on my morning walk. Your four-legged demon leaving landmines for blocks. Say it's just excited when it runs at me, but I can see that beast needs to not be free. All dogs suck. I've had enough of the barking, the biting. Yes, I'm mad at mucks. You got chewed up shoes, it's got toxic breath, tail wagging agents of chaos and death. Yeah, all dogs suck. They scratch at the door and bark at the wind. Such a vacant stare reveals a primitive mind. They hump your leg in front of guests, then eat a sock and require a vet. Dumb. All dogs suck, I'm saying it loud. You call it loyalty, don't know why you're proud. It's jumping on laps with its muddy paws, harassing everyone. Look at that warty maw. snarl at trees. They bark at shadows, give us allergies. They can't pay rent, they pollute your head, stink up your bed, yet still get fed. All dogs suck, they've had their day. I'll take peace over madness any day. They eat your food and pollute your heads, yet you let them inside of your beds. Go ahead, call me a villain, a monster, a troll, but your dog's still howling like it swallowed your soul. So bark back, nutter, if you must offend. But I'll be over here with my human friends. All dogs suck, I've had enough of the barking, the biting. Yes, I'm mad at mutts. You got scratched up doors, a pet that's obsessed. These tail wagging agents of chaos and death. Get rid of it.
And then there are videos such as this one. This is a bizarre form of modern child sacrifice.